Last time on Starcast Exigeous. What exactly is an exegeous? Hey man, you're a self-proclaimed gentleman pirate, man.
I try to be.
Tell us what it takes to be that.
Are you familiar with Heelys for Feelies?
Nah, is it a porn? And now the conclusion. Here's a real question from my good friend Commander Blackout. He wants to know if you're a HOTUS guy, and if so, which one?
Oh, absolutely I am. In fact, with just gaming in general, I won't play a game unless it ticks one of these three boxes. It either is VR, HOTUS, or racing controls, something that's not just keyboard and mouse, okay? Some other participation, or at a minimum, I've also got the Samsung 49-inch 32x9 monitor, right? So the big giant, it's like two 27-inch displays in one frame. It has to support that or multi-monitor, some kind of wide field of view, right? Because I don't really like...
You're real sedity with it, man.
Well, I don't like playing games so much as I do experiencing something I can't otherwise do. Right, so a racing sim, a flight sim, something like No Man's Sky, something that's taking me out of what I'm doing. And I do enjoy, the occasional, like we talked very early on, there's a new Remedy game that came out today called Control that I'm really interested in. I'll probably pick up, but that's not, I don't usually get it. When I was, a long time ago, that used to be all I do was shooters. And so now, yes, definitely a HOTUS fan. I'm lucky enough to have the Thrustmaster Warthog.
That's the
If
beast.
I was doing it right now, I would go for the Virpil gear. So if you haven't seen them, Virpil, VIRPIL, and to plug another video, I do have a HOTUS roundup video I did that covers kind of all the main HOTUSes on the market. The great news is none of them suck. Right, even the $50 T-Flight X, you get. I mean, for $50, it's awesome. Okay,
I bet that's the most popular one.
It's one of, yeah. I'm not a big fan
most owned one
of the Thrustmaster T16000. I just don't like the build of it. I don't like the throttle. It's a slider throttle versus kind of a lever arm rocker throttle.
Yeah,
and it's not crap. And because a lot of people in the video in the comments were like kind of being defensive because that's the one they have, because it's one of the least expensive. It's only about $100, right? And it's not that it's bad. It's just my least favorite of all of them. But Virpil is a new company, maybe 6 months, maybe a year now, out of Belarus, actually, that make incredible gear. It's 20-25% more expensive than the Warthog. Like if you did their throttle, it's all metal gimbals. You can do different grips, different bases, different gimbals, where the Warthog is like 500-ish, and then you've got to do pedals, so call it 750. A Virpil setup with pedals is going to be closer to like 1,000 or 1,250. Okay.
Right. And neither of those have twist for yaw, do they?
That's right. And personally for me, I don't want twist for yaw. I want pedals.
I gotta have that.
Yeah, and to a degree that's a style thing, right? I want the pedals because I want the full-on immersion. I also play War Thunder, DCS, some flight games where I specifically want pedals. You know what? I just realized, can I even land? I'm not going to do this. I just realized I'm doing a planetary landing mission. We don't want to do that because you can't. I don't know if we can even land with multi-crew. I know you certainly would be stuck.
Of course
in the
you
ship.
land.
Yeah, but would that just stick you in the ship? Yeah, I won't do that.
Yeah, that's fine, man. I'll get some landscape shots.
Oh, okay, all right. If that works for you, sure. So I specifically want pedals. I have the VKB Sim pedals. I also do actually have a cockpit tour video that covers all of my gear and my setup. I'm pretty fortunate with my setup. I've built it over a long time. I originally built it for racing, so I've got a motion seat, a racing wheel, racing pedals, shifter, handbrake for that I can then switch over to a flight setup, which I'm obviously playing right now. So yeah, definitely a HOTUS fan. I'd say if you're looking to get into HOTUS, the X52 on the budget side is my personal favorite. I just love the feel of it. The 56 is probably the next one up from that. It's 50% more expensive, so it is a little bit more expensive, but you do get quite a lot more input on it. And then, if you've got the budget, at this point, you know what? I would not suggest the Warthog, because if you can afford $500 for the Warthog, you can afford $700 for the Verpal stuff. And I would get the Verpal stuff over the Warthog if I had to do it again, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Elite feet or space legs?
Meaning, which one do I want?
Which name do you prefer?
Oh, I've always called it space legs. You know what? That's funny. That's the first time I've ever actually even heard elite feet. I've always heard it as space legs. Yeah. Yeah, I've not heard that.
That's what the cool
yet.
kids say, man.
Well, you know, I'm definitely not one of them, so that doesn't surprise me.
Do you think we'll see space legs and atmosphere?
You know, I would have said, if you'd asked me that a year ago, I would have said absolutely not. At this point, yes, I do. And I've been pretty anti space legs, and still to a small degree am, until I started playing, and maybe this is a good segue for this, until I started playing No Man's Sky recently. And the experience of walking around on an alien planet with alien flora and fauna, you know, everywhere, is incredible. In VR, is incredible. Like the feeling, and I actually in Elite really enjoy the SRV. I enjoy, like I do the little missions for BGS, like we're about to do, where you just drive up and, you know, do the generator or get data, whatever it is, right? I enjoy these a lot because I enjoy the SRV so much. And so my problem has always been with space legs, or the comment that I've always made has been, let's see, is it going to let me deploy? Yep, no, it won't.
Really?
It won't let me deploy. And I kind of thought that was the case. Yeah, it's not a powered thing either. I knew it wouldn't let you deploy, but yeah, it won't. So, okay, so we'll go do something else. So the, forgive me. So the problem I've always had with space legs is, where's the gameplay? Okay? Walking around is not gameplay. You know, people say, oh, how cool would it be to walk into the station or walk up to your ship? Well, you know, I've kind of done that because I have VR. So I've kind of walked around my ship and it was fun for 5 minutes, right? But that's not gameplay. So where's the gameplay? And then if you talk about if it's going to be something like No Man's Sky, where now we can walk around on planets and we can mine things and there's stuff to do, which there's a ton to do in No Man's Sky, then yes, I actually am interested in that, and I'm surprised at how much I do enjoy it in No Man's Sky. People say things like, well, you walk up to the market or you walk up to the mission giver, and my thought is, are you crazy? You want those things to take even longer? Right? Imagine, I think of the number of hours I've spent watching my hard points retract and deploy in the outfitting screen. Okay? And I'm thinking that's probably been, at this point, literally days. Right?
Oh, man, that's hilarious.
And so
yeah.
I want those tasks to take longer.
I
mean, imagine if you had to get out of your ship and walk up to somebody.
I don't understand this. You dig it in No Man's Sky, but you're against it for
hold
dangerous.
I dig it in No Man's Sky because there's gameplay. There's stuff to do, right?
Well,
you
obviously
walk around.
They have to make some gameplay
and
with
that,
it. That kind of goes without saying, don't you think?
And you're right, but what would they... Yes, absolutely. But this is Frontier we're talking about here, okay? So the question is, what is the gameplay? Well, you've got to add a lot now. Is it first-person shooter? Well, now you're doing kind of what Star Citizen is doing, and sure, but really they're going to tack an entire first-person shooter game onto Elite? Do you have any confidence that Frontier would do that well? And I'm kind of asking that seriously. I don't think
they have the... it would take so... And I know they'll have had the time to do it by the time 2020, end of 2020 rolls around, but it'll take so many resources to do that. I don't think they want to make that investment in the midst of cranking out these other games on the side too.
I agree. And the fear that I have always had with it is, you look back at the features that we've gotten. Let's talk about Multicrew, for example. And this is a perfect example of what just happened. Multicrew's been out for roughly, I'd have to look up the exact date, at least 2 years, if not 2.5, all right? When Multicrew first came out, everybody was super disappointed, period, okay, full stop, but primarily because you can't mix wings and Multicrew, and you can't Multicrew the SRV. If you had told people 2.5 years ago that at this point in time we still would not have that feature, people wouldn't have believed you.
Yeah, I know, right? That does sound kind of crazy.
Right,
yeah.
because what Frontier does is they release a feature that's barely there and kind of half-baked, and they never come back to it. Right? Now, we've got a little bit... I
didn't know you could mix wings and multi-crew.
Yep, you cannot mix wings and... So, here's the thing that happens all the time. I'll be Thargoid hunting with some friends, right? We'll have 2 or 3 of us winged up, and a buddy is back in the bubble, wants to come join us. Well, I've got all the Guardian fighters. Why don't you come? Oh, you can't multi-crew with me because then we have to break wing. And while you can still play together, not in a wing, it's a pain in the ass, right? Yeah. Why couldn't you share my multi-crew SRV? How awesome would that be? Right? And so what I fear is that they would give us the foundations for Space Legs. They would give us the framework, but very, very little to actually do.
We can't move in fear, man. I say let them bring it and hopefully do well. Because, I mean, what do you think is going to happen if they don't, 2020 rolls around, they don't deliver Space Legs or Atmo? What do you think is in store for the game?
You know, I've not been the type that's the game is dead, the game is dying. I've never said that. I've never felt that, right? I do think there's obviously an end, right? You know, there will be a point when the game does die, right? When it does stop, or maybe we get an Elite 2 or, you know, whatever comes next. Personally, if I had to pick between the two, I would still pick Atmospheric over Space Legs. And that's because it's easier to give... To me, there's more interesting things that come with Atmospheric with the current engine of the game that we have right now. Right, you know, the planet we just landed on, if that was an atmospheric planet, that adds something in and of itself, even if there's no new gameplay there. Now, I want there to be.
Not really. Then we just got to... Remember he was talking about walking around the ship? It was cool for 5 minutes.
Well,
I think if they added some grass and trees, then...
To a degree.
Especially if it's the same procedurally generated stuff.
And that's absolutely fair. Right? And yes, that's absolutely fair. So either way, I think it's about the gameplay. And when we look at the gameplay that's been added in the last 2 years, the main two is going to be exploration tools, which, I mean, I think the scanner is kind of cool, but I don't think it's anything all that great or that special. You know, being able to probe a planet and fly right to, you know, an interesting site, that's awesome. Right? Because I've said before, I love the planetary stuff. So being able to probe a planet and see there's a biological site, geological site, fly right to it, find something interesting, that's great. Love it, right?
Definitely more convenient.
Oh, absolutely. Right. Absolutely. Well, it's always been
like
absurd
a quality
that,
of life upgrade.
Yeah, right. It's been absurd that in 3303 or 5, whatever year it is now, we can't use GPSs like we can in, 2019.
Yeah, it's a little weird. There's a few things that seem, I don't know,
that just don't make sense, right?
Yeah.
And so let's see. Sorry, we're now grabbing another pirate. I think we'll do something. We'll shoot at somebody again.
Cool.
And so mining is the other obvious example, and I think mining was an absolute home run. I think they did a fantastic job with it. Everything from the gameplay around mining to the fact that they let us make money. They finally heard the community, right? In fact, I'll tell a little bit of a story because this was this a year ago? It was something like a year ago. The group of us that used to do the old round table, so me, Astro, Obsidian Ant, Yamix, who else was there? Turgeon was there. A number of, about 7 or 8 of us were there. We met with Zach Antonelli. I can't remember his exact title, but he's fairly senior. We met with Zach one night for a couple hours to talk about the state of the game. Right, and I can't remember what it was. It was after the Gnosis debacle. Okay, so it was sometime after that, and it was just to kind of, it was our request. We wanted to basically give him some feedback, and we started with that. It was also right around when they announced that the mission board, that you wouldn't be able to refresh the mission board by logging in and out. Yeah, right. And so that was a big part of the conversation. As I slam into the nav beacon, sorry. That was a big part of the conversation, and we all kind of went round robin, and each of us got our, our 5 or 10 minutes to bring up our issues. And my issue, and it's kind of what the conversation turned into, was around credits and how unbelievably imbalanced credits in the game were, right? And pointing out that back then, you could make, 100 million or 200 million an hour doing passenger missions with no risk and a 2 million credit rebuy, right? Versus you do combat in a Corvette with a 50 million credit rebuy and you barely make 5 an hour.
Yeah, that's
right.
True.
And hold on just a sec. Where we go? Am I in the right system? Let me just see if I'm in the right place. No. And so when he brought that up, I remember him asking, did we all feel the same way? And was basically surprised by the comment, to which we just were baffled that how could he not know what a big deal this is, right? How could they not understand, like how bad of a problem this is, right? Go. And so, we talked about it at length. I remember Yamix's credit followed up with, here's all the different kind of careers in the game and what they pay and what their risk and rebuy is like, right? And not too long after that's when we got the mining update and there were updates to combat pay. And I remember telling him that I think combat pay, and I still do, needs to be buffed by 10 times what it is right now. Right? For that same reason. And I said, you might think that sounds ridiculous, but that's how broken it is. Right? That's
either
how
that's got to
bad.
be buffed or they got to bring down the mining.
Something has to change. Right? And so when mining came out and all of a sudden we're making 100 million, 200 million an hour pretty easily, is this a bug? Is this working as intended? And I'm not convinced that that's exactly what they intended, but good on them for not changing it. Right, and not nerfing it, because when did you start playing actually?
Probably around the time you started YouTubing.
Okay, so all right, so you don't remember the days. Well, you remember some of it where we would find something great that would make 100 million an hour or more an hour, and they'd nerf it. We'd find something great and they'd nerf it. Exactly, right. And so I think they finally realized we have to get away from this. Mining takes skill. It takes you learn it, right? It's fun, it's engaging, especially deep core mining, right? And so to their credit, they left it. And in fact, when I brought up the idea with Will of doing the speedrun competition, and he was all for it, I even pointed out to him how wonderful it was that finally Frontier was not only, excuse me, I'm losing my voice a bit, not only allowing us to make credits that fast, but was actively encouraging it. Right? Like,
yeah, it is a weird change, man.
It is. It's a huge change, and it was one that the game desperately needed. And that's back to before when we were talking about, is materials the currency in the game? And yes, it is now because of that.
Yeah.
Right.
And it is engaging, and definitely an upgrade over what the mining used to be, and I'm glad they put it in there. But you know what? Putting it in there by itself kind of makes it the only thing. And so it kind of gets old if it's the only thing.
Yes. In fact, there's a quote from Braben, like way early on. For those who don't know, David Braben founded the company. He wrote the original Elite back in the 80s. That he didn't want any one career, activity, whatever you want to call it, to pay significantly more or different than any other, because he didn't want to force combat pilots to become traders or explorers to become miners. And sadly, that's exactly what we have. It's what we've always had, right? Now, that said, at least it does pay really well, and it does get old, but it is fun. So at least it's not like the Rhea passenger missions when it was literally stare at your ship fly for an hour and a half doing nothing. Right? I mean, that was pretty brutal. I mean, it paid great, right? It paid great, but that was quite brutal. So,
what are your thoughts on Star Citizen?
You know, I'm kind of mixed on it in terms of I'm wait and see, right? Like I bought it.
You have it?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I've got a Mustang, or I think that's what I have, like a beginner ship that I spent $50 on, right?
Yeah.
And every major release or when some big milestone comes out, I'll install it and play it for a few hours. It's always been kind of so broken I couldn't really do anything. And while it ticks the flight control box, it doesn't tick the VR box yet. And so I'm waiting for VR, right? If it supported VR, I would definitely have spent a lot more time in it, which is why I never played No Man's Sky other than just a little bit up until here recently when VR support was added. So I'm definitely not it's a scam, it's never going to release, but at the same time, it's a scam and it's never going to release. Right? I mean, given the money that's been spent on it, the amount of time, it's shocking that there's not actually a game there yet.
But you don't spend money on a scam. You spend a little bit of money and then take everybody's money.
Right.
Hire,
exactly,
make a business,
and that's why.
Have a
that's
payroll.
why I'm not going to. Yeah. That's why I'm not calling it a scam. No, seriously, right. But I do think it's absurd that, you look at the way Frontier's done it, where they release it as we go, right? And I'm, for the most part, fine with that because at least Frontier or Elite is a functional, real game. Right? I mean, like you can, there's parts of Elite we can shit on, but I've played Elite for, I've been playing for an hour and a half tonight. I played for a few hours earlier today. It's a real game, right? So yeah, I'm interested in it. I think it's just, when I see them adding monorails and cities and some of the ridiculous stuff that they add when there's not basic stuff in it yet, I just question the focus. Right, or lack thereof.
Gotcha. There's people that, and especially more on the Elite side of things, that really just hate Star Citizen. I mean, it's a game and they've got their emotions tied up in it, and they'll click on one of my Star Citizen videos or other content creators' videos. Yep. For the sole purpose of typing some crazy comment about it. That is dedication, man.
I have never... Okay, so I experienced the same thing with two other topics. VR and recently RTX or ray tracing. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
If you ask about either of those topics, especially ray tracing, like Assetto Corsa Competizione, new racing title, advertised starting a year ago that it was going to support ray tracing. Okay? It came out in early access in like April or May or something like that. No ray tracing yet. I ask a simple, I don't want to have, I even said, I don't want to have debate about the feature. I just want to know if it's still planned. It was 6 pages of people just shitting on ray tracing. And these are people that don't even own RTX cards. Why do you care?
Yeah, they love it, man. They love to shit on your thing to keep their parade going.
I just want to ask, like, do you go, like, comment on other games or other topics that you have no interest in as well? Right? Like, do you go comment on cooking videos and you're not a chef just because you don't like them? Because to me, it's the same damn thing. Why? Like, I wish I had that much free time to bitch about things that don't affect me.
That's dedication, man. That's the kind of dedication I want to cultivate to improving my channel, to linking up with cool folks like you, to building the testicular fortitude to ask you the tough questions like, why do folks still think Raxxla is anything but an unexecuted idea?
Okay, so quickly, because I argue this with friends too, I absolutely will go on record as saying I don't believe for a second that right here at this moment Raxxla exists in the game. I don't believe that for a single solitary second. I guarantee you at the point they want it to be in the game, it'll be in the game and we'll find it. Right? It's a myth and a legend that makes it something fun and people to talk about, right? But the notion that we can actually go get this, absolutely not.
Right. It's Atlantis, man.
It's Atlantis. That's a great way to say it. Right.
Yeah.
So by the way, just quickly, so we just dropped into this pirate beacon. This is a threat 6. So this is going to be, these are tough. These are going to be, I'm going to kill this guy as quick as I can, and then we're going to probably be tucking tail and leaving.
Oh man, don't die on video.
Oh no, I'm not going to die. I might have to exit quicker than I would like to, but.
Hey, do you have a 2020 wish list?
Not really, and primarily because I really don't like theory crafting in Elite or trying to guess what's coming next, because just about every time we do that, we're disappointed in some way, right?
I think I accidentally messed up your pips.
Well, you're good. Just leave them up and that's fine. Every time we go, I hope we get this, or fleet carriers. We haven't talked about that yet tonight. Like, if we think about the features that could be in fleet carriers, right? We are going to be disappointed in that exercise, right? We are going something that we want or that we think of. It's not going to be in there, And so we're just setting ourselves up for that failure, right? And so that's where I try not to think that hardly about those kind of things. Now, I'm obviously
I don't think folks' expectations for the fleet carriers are particularly high right now, given the
guys that I talk
information that we got. Really? What are they hoping for? Because right now, to a lot of people, it sounds like a mobile station that you teleport on a schedule.
And that's what I'm guessing it will be, right? And to me, that's why I'm very meh about them, and don't really think I'm not that excited about it, because I don't think it's going to be much more than that. Come here, bitch. And so the idea of being able to have 16 ships on it and be able to quickly move my fleet of ships around, that sounds cool, right? But oh shit, accidentally popped it without a heat sink. I think for me, hold on, I shouldn't have jumped. You know what, I'm just going to jump out. It's too hard to do this and try to talk. Plus, I'm not doing very well. I think when we first talk about fleet carriers, there's so many things that they could have, right? They could, one of the things I've always wanted in them is the ability for us to upgrade the services on them, right? So they come with, let's just say they come with E-rated outfitting, and we do X, Y, and Z missions, tasks, whatever it is, to upgrade the outfitting on them, for example, right? That's the kind of thing that I'm interested in and would hope for, but clearly we're not going to get, right? It seems like, and you just hit the nail on the head, that basically it's going to be a station that we can control. So my questions are then, is it going to have a mission board?
That's a good question.
So those of us that do BGS, and I've been doing our squadron's gotten into BGS a lot lately, is
your BGS missions right on the mission board.
Exactly.
That'll be dope.
Because if the fleet carrier doesn't have a mission board, I'm not going to be using it because I need to use the station. And so if I'm going to use the station, why would I have my ships on a fleet carrier?
Yeah.
Right?
Well, maybe refueling and rearming.
Maybe. Right? Maybe it's got that.
That's a maybe.
Exactly. That's a maybe. And so, to me, they just... what are your thoughts on them? What feature do you want with them?
I can't think of anything that'd be terribly interesting unless they add something adjacent to it, like because they got the support ships. Now, if those support ships can come in and back you up or offer something that's not already existing, rather than taking something that's in the station and placing it in the support ship,
right,
then we could talk.
And I think that's all it's going to be. I don't think the support ships are, as I understand it, they're just basically going to be cosmetic. Right? They're just going to be...
That's terrible.
Well, they're just going to be, in other words, if you outfit you outfit your fleet carrier for combat, your support ships are the combat support ships, but they don't actually do anything.
That would be awful, man. I hope not. I hope that's not the case.
That's the way I understand it right now. And here's the other thing that I ask. So is Shinrarta going to have 10,000 fleet carriers in it? Where do the fleet carriers show up? In other words, there's 10,000 commanders in Shinrarta. Let's say at any given moment there's 500 commanders online. Are all 5,000?
That means everybody's in a separate instance since there's one per instance.
Exactly.
That's crazy.
I'm guessing, and see, this is where I hate guessing this stuff because I'm going to be wrong. I'm guessing I have to invite you to be able to use my fleet carrier, and then once you're invited to it, then it shows up in your navigation panel. Something like that. Right? Otherwise, if there's 10,000 fleet carriers in Shinrarta, we can't have a list of 10,000 things in the nav panel, right? How would you actually find anything? That can't
complicated here. It's getting a little tied up.
Right? Yeah. So again, I use the example I've used already tonight of multi-crew. You go back to that, and when that got announced and was just about to be released, everybody was super excited about it. Right? Fighters, being able to share fighters, what's that going to do for gameplay? Other than the video you're doing tonight in this series, how many times have you used multi-crew?
Not many, maybe 3, 4.
Yeah, right. In my 6,000 hours, I don't think I've ever multi-crewed with somebody to do something in game longer than a few minutes to test something, or like a buddy's out at SAG A and I multi-crew with him real quick to get a view or something like that.
Yeah.
Right? And it's because it's so limited, right? And it would be so simple to make it not. Well, I don't mean to say, like, I mean, coding is difficult, writing a game is difficult, right? But what I mean by that is they wrote mining, and mining was really well done. There's no, they could do it if they chose to, right? The way I put Elite, the way I sum it up when I'm being pessimistic is, we love Elite in spite of Frontier, not because of Frontier. If you get what I mean.
I get what you mean. I don't know if I would 100% agree on it. There's some things they do very
extreme.
well, but
I
get where you're coming from. Yeah.
Let me ask you this. Have you personally had any contact from Frontier, any support from Frontier? Have they reached out to you? Anything like that yet?
Nah, ages ago, I think like December, there was one person who would retweet some of my videos. Other than that, I haven't spoken to anybody. In fact, I've reached out to some people. I don't know if it's Will or somebody, and I seen them read my message. They just ignored me. So I figured, okay, that's where I'm at with Frontiers.
That is what I mean by that.
Yeah, I'm not gonna rely on them for what I do.
And it's not just you, right? It will. I have sent messages before that took 4 or 5 messages and tweets to track somebody down to get a reply to something. Right? And these are not like, I don't want to go into too much detail here, but these are not things where I'm asking for something crazy or outside the box. These are things that we've agreed on, and I'm waiting for a reply on something, and it takes weeks. Now, on the flip side of that, they've been good to me at times and given me free codes to give away, given me free copies of the game, right? Those kind of things, right? So that's, I don't want to completely shit on them here, but that's where I mean that you look at other companies and other developers and other creators, right, that are working, on a game like this in a community like this, and the support that they do get from those companies is amazing compared to what we get from Frontier.
Yeah.
Right?
So I've heard lately.
Like the reality is, and I don't mean to sound arrogant here, kiss my ass, kiss your ass, and anything like that. We are responsible for revenue at that company. We have helped them retain players, keep new players, make people play the game longer, buy skins, that kind of stuff, right?
Definitely.
Yet, getting to even interact with them just doesn't happen. Right? They don't engage with the community, and kind of to what you said, that you don't rely on them for that, and you can't. And that's unfortunate, is the way I would put it. Right?
Yeah, I hear you.
Again, I'm not trying to sound like I'm something special here and deserve some sort of special treatment, right?
No.
But all of us.
But we are ambassadors to the game,
right?
and you would kind of want to treat your ambassadors with at least help them when they need it.
That's a really, really good way to say it.
At minimum.
Right? Exactly. Yeah. So.
Hey man, so kind of on the topic, you got a video called "Has the Progress of No Man's Sky Embarrassed Elites?" No Man's Sky just made even more progress with an update that's got the same name as Elite's last update, man.
Yep.
The Beyond. I haven't played it yet, but we need to talk about this.
So, it's funny you bring that video up, because I'll admit I have debated on making an updated version of that video. And I want to clarify, because some people, if you read the comments, that was probably the most volatile comments I've ever had. Because people,
I bet.
And comments from people who clearly didn't even watch the video. I know you know those kind of people.
Yeah.
Right? And what they didn't understand is, I still love Elite. It is still the game for me. No Man's Sky is not, right? I don't like... No Man's Sky is a survival space game. Elite is a space flight simulator. We can argue how much of a simulator it is and Newtonian physics and all that shit, but that's what it is, right? Well, I don't like survival games. I like simulator games, right? So Elite is the game for me. When VR got added to No Man's Sky, it's now far more compelling to me. Talk more about that in a second. But still, it's not the game for me, because the flight model in it, to call it a flight model is even a joke, right? It's an arcade game. I mean, it's an arcade flight model. You cannot fly it with HOTUS controls.
That was the reason why I didn't jump in.
Exactly, right? You in VR right now, you can't even fly it with Xbox controller. You have to literally take the motion controls, hold them in 3D space like you're holding on to the throttle and stick and move them around. It's horrible.
Really? Is that
it's
awkward?
Horrible. It's awkward as fuck. It's awkward as fuck. It's terrible.
Definitely awkward if somebody takes a picture of you doing it.
Oh, yeah, right. Now, the difference, though, is 90% of the time you're on a planet on foot.
Uh-huh.
Or so far in the beginning, early of the game, I have been, anyway. I should say it that way, right? So when I talk about in that video, and now more than ever, it's not about what the different games are. It's about what the games have gotten over the last 2 or 3 years now. Right? You look at what No Man's Sky had 3 years ago, arguably, and I think it's not even arguable, the worst launch in gaming history. Okay, it was. I mean, did you follow all that back when that happened?
I'd be on the perimeter listening to it.
Oh man, it was. I mean, Sean Murray, the lead dev, got death threats, like literal death threats. Okay, and so, it was abysmal. You look at where the game is now, which is not only one of the greatest comeback stories of all time,
Absolutely.
but the amount of content that little team of roughly 10 guys has pumped out of that for that game.
Are they still a small team like that?
They are. I don't know. I'm sure they're bigger than that, right? But they're still tiny compared to Frontier, right? You look at what that little team has done in the face of overwhelming hate versus what Frontier has done in the last 3 years, right? With the support, with the size of the community that Elite has. And it's not even, it's not even a comparison. It's not even, it's so absurd, the difference that I don't even know that you can compare them at this point, especially, right?
Yeah.
And to point out that every one of the releases for No Man's Sky has been free.
Oh, is that right? Yeah.
Yep.
I guess
yep.
I did hear that. Yeah.
I bought the game on sale for $30, and every single bit of content that's been added to the game since I started playing, absolutely free, didn't cost me a dime. Right?
So would you say at this point that Elite Dangerous has become stagnant?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how you say anything other than that, right? And now clearly we've kind of known that, right? We knew that going into, after the 3.0 series, that it was going to be a while, right? Mm-hmm. Does that excuse things? I don't think so, right? I mean, it doesn't change the fact, right, that we haven't gotten these updates. Right, that we've barely gotten any new content since, I mean, really, since Planetary Landings and Engineerings with Horizons.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, you can name certainly on two hands the major features that Elite has gotten in that time, and it would take a page to list everything No Man's Sky has gotten.
Yeah, they're the comeback kids, man. They've done some incredible things in the same amount of time that Elite had to not do.
And I would absolutely call that an embarrassment. Right? I don't see how you call it anything but, right? When again, a little team like that is just destroying what Frontier has not been able to do. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully they got some good answers though. I mean, everything's a mystery right now. They don't have a public roadmap or anything. We're just waiting on the end of 2020. So I mean, they've got to come out with both.
Yeah, and I think that's another problem. That Frontier's always had is they don't talk to us, right? Yeah. They don't communicate with us. Everything is a coming soon or a just wait or a we can't say more, right? And at this point, there's just I don't understand that even from a business perspective. I don't understand it.
Yeah, I can't get it either.
Right? I mean, I get you don't want to overpromise and then underdeliver, but
I think that's kind of where they're at. I think they might not be confident enough in their own roadmap to make it public. I'm sure they have a roadmap, but they're looking at it like, nah, what if we don't finish that part?
Well, and see, the cynic in me Okay, yeah, they definitely have a roadmap. You're right. I was going to say the cynic in me questions that, but yes, absolutely.
If they even have
they're
an
a company,
internal one.
of course they do. Of course they do. Right, but is that? I think the problem is they know that if they did share it, we all would collectively go, "What?" Right? I mean, so now you look at 2019. Okay, let's talk about something we haven't talked about tonight, right? Which is the cheating in the game. Okay, the fact that and everybody's familiar with the trainers, whatever you want to call them, right? The fact that they knew about that for a solid, I think it was more like 9, but 6 months.
Wait, everybody knows about who?
Okay, you know about the cheating issues in the game, right? The hacks.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. They knew about that, when was it? Like June-ish of 2018 is when they learned about that, okay? Uh-huh. And actively decided that it wasn't something they would address from a technology perspective until the end of 2020.
You gotta be joking.
No, I mean, that, right? And it's something that they clearly don't care about, right? It's not something they're going to, I mean, they have no incentive. They don't care to deal with it. Right?
Did you see that protester that took an L because it was cheating? He blocked the mail slot with the beluga.
Oh yes, and
then he got a ban for his trouble.
Story. There's a lot more to that story, which is, by the way, will you pop? Yeah, you can leave that in systems. That's fine.
My bad. Did I do that?
No, you're good. You're good. Leave it in systems. That's great. That story should not have been guy protests, over Elite. The truth to that story, which we all found out afterwards, and we all let the guy off the hook because I don't want to get into it, but the guy had some issues and he needed out of it. But the true story was, longtime cheater decides to go out in a blaze of glory. Okay? This was not somebody who just cheated as a protest. This is someone that had been cheating for a very long time and basically got busted and caught and decided to go out in a blaze of glory. All right.
Oh, that's not the guy I was talking about. I'm talking about
it is the guy you're talking about. The guy
mail slot.
Yes, that's the guy I'm talking about. That's the guy I'm talking about. So when Plater had him on stream, when he did that protest, right, the story at the time was that he had never installed them before. He installed them that morning to make a point. The real story is he had been using the cheats for over 6 months. Okay. And we found that out after the fact, and once everybody started digging in. So why would he do that then?
What was his point of fake protesting?
The guy had mental issues. And I'm not being funny about that, right? Like, legitimately had some real life problems, and that's factored into this, right? Okay. So that became very fucked up, and kind of became more than it should have been. Right, because Plater interviewed him. I was going to interview him. I found out the facts that again, this wasn't just some guy that was trying to be a white knight. This was some guy who'd been using these for a while and then got busted, and then didn't have him on stream, right? Because I wasn't going to promote that, obviously. There was a video that Harry Potter sent me today of a guy fighting the new Thargoid that's in the game, and he's. In the video, I'm using the trainer so you can see what the new Thargoid looks like. So, straight up just cheating. Right?
Okay.
And my opinion is, there is no excuse to cheat, period. This guy's not special. He doesn't get to decide, I'm going to use this cheat to show people what the Thargoid is like. Right? The Nick Naylor guy didn't have the right to decide that I'm going to stage a protest. Right? And so I think that complacent attitude the Frontier has with parts of the game like that has been one of the big problems and disheartening things in the game for a lot of us. Right?
Yeah, I don't know, man. Because I haven't. I play in a private group, so I'm not privy to all that, or it doesn't affect me, I guess. Right.
And the way that I say it is, I actually made a video on the topic that I titled, something about cheating and why you should care, right? And the point that I make in that is everyone should care, number one, because nobody is special and nobody should get an advantage that you don't get, right? And let's say you do BGS and you only do that in solo or private, right? But I use the cheats to affect BGS, right? I use the cheats to push a system into into lockdown, right? I push my faction and destroy your faction in a war, right? These are all the reasons that it hurts everyone. Now, not as directly, obviously, as somebody like me who does play in open, right? Or does do PvP, right? And the other insidious thing about it is it now is the new to accuse people of, right? I've had people accuse me of cheating, right? And it's the new, like, oh, you beat me, you must be cheating.
Communist thing.
Exactly, right? It becomes the new witch hunt, and that's another thing that makes it terribly bad for the whole game, right? I know lots of friends that absolutely do not cheat and would not cheat in this game and have been accused of cheating, right?
Why are they are they really good and they're blowing people up? Or
that's part of it, right? Part of it is just, it's the new insult, right? It's the new thing to call someone.
In vogue now.
Exactly, right?
Okay. Hey man, I asked you this earlier. Well, I was about to. Whenever I ask other content creators to give me 2 of their top movies, I always get the typical sci-fi nerd flicks. Are you going to be continuing that trend, or do you have something different?
No. I can give you some different ones. I certainly can give you plenty of good nerd flicks, right? But my number 1 is going to be The Princess Bride.
The Princess Bride.
The Princess Bride. Without question, I think it's the greatest movie of all time. It's got comedy, it's got pirates, it's got sword fights, it's got romance, it's got action, right? It's my all-time favorite movie without question. I've seen it at least 200 times. I could probably sit down and write the script of it. I know it so well.
I think they said that one has it's either the perfect script as far as how it was written, or what was it? Pacing? I don't know. Maybe it was a perfect script, but I don't know. That's one that people study in film
certainly
school.
Could see that either way, right? So The Princess Bride would be one. Let me think. This is sci-fi, but not. I would say Gattaca, if you know Gattaca.
Gattaca, I love Gattaca, man.
Gattaca, yep.
I love that movie.
Contact is probably my all-time favorite sci-fi film, right?
Never seen that one.
You've never seen Jodie Foster Contact?
Nah, you know
my
what?
friend,
Family Guy kind of ruined it for me when they described the whole thing.
It's absolutely amazing. It's absolutely amazing. You have got to see Contact. It is incredible, because what's great about it is that it deals with all of the aspects of the societal implications of what would happen if we made contact with aliens, right? They talk about religious stuff. They get into politics to a degree. Now, it's the ending of it's a little out there, right? But it's incredible. If you like Gattaca, you would love Contact.
Okay.
Right? I can't recommend it enough.
A Rick and Morty or Futurama?
I'm going to admit, not really either. I pick Rick and Morty. I've never really seen Futurama, and I've only seen a handful of Rick and Morty. And it's not because I dislike them. It's just, for whatever reason, I haven't watched them yet.
Okay.
Right? Battlestar Galactica is my favorite sci-fi TV show.
Yeah, it's a dope series.
Oh, shit. Let's see. What's the other one I would pick? Star Trek Deep Space Nine.
Love that. Just finished
Right?
that
I think that's the best. Yeah, I think that's the best of the Treks, right? Because it's got the serialized plot, right?
Yeah, the Jem'Hadar, the
exactly.
Founders War.
The whole Dominion War is just the whole Dominion War is just fantastic.
That was super dope.
Yeah. Back to movies. Okay, you know what? You're going to make me really quickly, because I want to give some good answers since you're a film guy. Let me look at my Plex library real quick.
He's going to the Plex.
I'm going to my greatest drama play. Goodfellas would be way up there.
Yeah, super solid.
Did you see Whiplash?
Yeah, the drum one.
Exactly. So music major in college, and I was a jazz music major, right? So I have had that band director before.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so Whiplash... JFK, the old Kevin Costner. Oh, The Right Stuff. The Right Stuff, without question. Have you seen that?
I know that's an astronaut movie, but I don't remember.
83. Yeah, it's early 80s. It's the early Mercury program, the original Mercury 7 astronauts. And so literally the first astronauts, the space race against the Russians. Dude, again, if you're a film guy, you have got to see The Right Stuff. Okay. What else? Schindler's List. Shawshank Redemption. Without question, Shawshank Redemption. Yeah, we were talking
about in film school. We were talking about how what's the movie? James Cameron's alien movie.
Not Avatar.
Avatar, yeah.
Yeah, Avatar. Okay.
Super huge budget movie. You see it once and then you're kind of done with it. They show Shawshank Redemption every single year, and everybody tunes into it. It's watched like crazy, and you gotta look at what the writing does for a movie. I mean, Avatar is still dope, but it doesn't make the movie. Man.
Exactly, right. And I would actually, if I think of James Cameron alien movies, I actually think of The Abyss.
The Abyss is hot. That's Ridley Scott.
Was that? No, that's James Cameron.
Am I wrong?
I'm 99% sure it's James Cameron. I'm 99% sure because he developed the masks that they used in the film, those full face masks, so you could actually see the actors' faces. He developed those with a company because I think, if you also know, he built that submersible to go down to Challenger Deep, the deepest part of the ocean. Yeah. I mean, look me up.
You're right. James Cameron.
Yeah, okay. I was pretty sure about that.
Ridley Scott, right. Aliens.
Yeah, exactly. Aliens is real, and Aliens, especially Sigourney Weaver. I mean, holy shit, the baddest ass female, practically of all time.
Yeah, she was crushing it in that role.
Right. Did you see? Did you see Alita: Battle Angel?
Man, everybody keeps telling me to watch that. One day.
I enjoyed it. Yeah, it's not great, but I definitely enjoyed it, and the CGI in it is just absolutely incredible. I mean, the Alita, like, you see the special effects of her and how incredibly realistic her CGI is, and it's mind blowing how good it is.
Dig that. Yeah, I'm gonna definitely check it out.
And it was fun. Yeah,
man, we're running on 2 hours here.
Oh shit.
So, all right, I've got two options to end the show. So you choose A or B.
Oh, I gotta give A or B before I know the options?
Yep, exactly.
Oh, well, I gotta go with B then.
B? Okay. Well, thanks for tuning in to Starcast Exigeous. We're off to fill his hemorrhoid prescription that comes with the Mike Honcho branded turkey baster applicator for whatever reason. Before we're out of here, tell everybody what you got going on and when to look out for it.
Oh, look at you going for the... Now, this is definitely the Sean Evans Hot Ones ending, isn't it? Am I wrong?
Yeah,
Am I wrong? No,
yeah,
I love it too. Love it. Well, the big thing that's coming soon is a new website, and I don't want to give the domain just yet because it's not quite ready to share. I don't want to give too much. If you want to join my Discord and ping me there, happy to share it that way. There's actually a channel in the Discord about it, but the idea is it's going to be a site dedicated to Learning Elite. Okay. Actually, I'll go ahead and spell it. It's edtutorials.com. Right now, it's beta.edtutorials.com is the site. It's running on a server in my house, so don't expect full uptime. And there's a couple ideas, a couple points of it. Is number one, to catalog all of my content, and this is where we've got to go with other people, and the content of others. So Dig and I, this is a topic for me to talk with you, maybe after this tonight or certainly here soon, is I want it to be a very organized, cataloged place where you can, in a very guided way, learn the game, right? So it's not just, the problem with a YouTube channel is once a video is a month old, nobody's going to see it anymore, right? Unless it's something they happen to search for, a search result shows it to them, that kind of thing, right? So this is to put everything in kind of like a handbook, so to speak, right? Like a Learn Elite guidebook. And then that will have a couple of tools, the one that we talked about earlier tonight, the material finder, right? So adding that into it, once the code for that is done, and I get the look and feel the way I want it, that's kind of what's holding up the launch of it right now. Right? But yeah, that's the next big thing.
Perfect, man. Everybody look out for that. I know I'm going to be doing that because I got some mats to find. Oh, just so you know, both A and B, the closers, they were the same thing. So
okay, I figured they might be. And by the way, did I hear right that it was Mike Honcho from? Are we talking Mike Honcho from? From Talladega Nights.
Talladega Nights, yeah.
Oh, dude, another one of my all-time favorites. Yes, absolutely. Oh, yeah. When you said that, I was like, has to be Mike Honcho. He spread his butt cheeks in Playgirl magazine too.
He just wanted him to know that.
That's right. Just want you to know that.
All right, we out of here, y'all. My name is DigThat, and you are.
Yeah, and let me thank you, DigThat, for having me on. This has been a blast, my friend.
Absolutely, dude. Absolutely, my man. We out of here. Let's go get that prescription, man. You think the turkey baster comes in different sizes?
I hope so, man. I'm gonna need a pretty big one. I mean, a pretty small one.
07. Big shout out to the fine connoisseurs of the Space Sim and DigThat Arts, aka my patrons. Thanks for keeping the lights on and the videos cranking out. 7-up salute to Commander Blackout, to Diedrichs, to the Mother, to Buster Boy, to Anthony Jackson, to Guillotine Girl, and S to the M. You guys are appreciated. All of my patrons are appreciated. Holla at me on Discord. Deuces. Fly dirty.